Hey y'all, this is the Moon Gypsy, and as I promised, I came back to do one more video tonight. So we have something else to talk about. I'm going to just tell you a little story. This is a story that took place back in the late 90s. I worked for the Texas Department of Corrections as a correctional officer. I know, right? You wouldn't think that now, I'm old. But anyway, when I worked at a maximum security facility, and twice a year they do a thing that's called shakedown, which means they go do cell searches throughout the whole unit. So on this particular one, you had to go to each wing on the unit, and on each wing there's 3 rows. And so we'd already been doing all of the unit. We were on the last little bit. Everybody was tired. Usually you have a line of officers, probably 15 of them, doing one section at a time. But since it was getting later in the day, we were down to 4 officers. Everybody else went on break. So how we did that was the 4 guys who were with me said they'll go do the last few cells that need to be done, and I was going to go wait at the day room door. The day room is an area where the TVs are and all of that, and I was going to keep an eye on the offenders there while they finished up. So that was the plan, right? So I was down there. Everybody's hot. It's Texas, summertime, 1,000,000 degrees in there, or you think it is, and I'm just watching the inmates, hoping they hurry up upstairs, right? So I'm standing there, and everybody gets quiet. When all the inmates get quiet, you wonder what's happening. So I started to look, because they were all from a loud noise to quiet. So I'm looking around me. Well, what they were looking at was the 4 officers running like something was chasing them. And they came running down the stairs. White as a ghost. So I'm asking them, what happened? What's wrong? You know, whatever. I'm not going back up there, the first one said. I was like, well, what's wrong? And stuff. And they're just trying to get off the wing. Just let me out of here, let me out of here. So finally, the last one said, I'm not searching that cell. Whoever cell that is a witch. I said, what are you talking about? They said, yep. There's a bag up there, and when we opened it was a leather bag with drawstrings on it, and I opened it up because, you know, you have to search everything for contraband, and he said when he opened it, there were chicken feathers in it, and the feathers freaked them out. They thought that the witch had got them. I said, guys, why do you think that that's a witch? It's just a bag with feathers. I mean, I'm not sure. And they said, well, the guy who sell that is, he practiced Santeria, and that's part of the tradition, is what they told me. So I was like, okay, well, we have to search the cell. And they was like, girl, it's on you. I'm not doing it. I am not doing it. And they left. Off the cell. Some other officers came in, because you can't just leave me there by myself. So I told the other one that came in, look, let me talk to the inmate. Let me see what's going on. So I called the inmate over to the side, and I asked him, you know, man, what's in the bag and stuff, and he said that it was his medicine bag and that it was his bag for protection. And I asked him, protection about what? I mean, what is the protection for? And he said, well, it's protection against y'all. So you can't do anything to me, you can't search my stuff. If you do search my stuff, then you'll have a hex on you. So the cell had to be searched. And so I told that inmate, I said, your power only works. Your hex only works if I give power to what you're saying. And I don't give power to it. I'm going to search the cell. So that freaked out the other officers, and of course they wanted to stay as far away from me as they could, and they did outside the gate. And I went up while another officer stayed down, and I went and searched the cell. And of course I found the bag. It was just a leather bag, and it had feathers in it, just like he said. And when I opened the bag and I moved the feathers around, lo and behold, underneath the feathers was contraband, which was some drugs in there. So I gathered up the bag and I went downstairs, of course turned the bag in, but when I stopped by to talk to the offender again, or inmate, he said, now you know what you just did, you have hex on yourself, and bad things are going to happen to you. And I turned around and told him the same thing that I had told him before. I don't give any power to your magic. And in fact, when I get to the house, I'm going to do a reversal spell on you. And everything that you try to put on me is going to come back on you. Silence in the day room. Not one offender had any, they were quiet. Now everybody thinks I'm a witch. And our powers are matching up. Who is the stronger witch? Well, guess what? I was the stronger witch in that case. It gave actually protection to me because people feared the word witch. They feared that I stood up to the man who practiced Santeria in the prison, and all of that time his word or him saying or using the different tools had everyone around him fearful of him, had the officers fearful of him and his workings. And when somebody stood up to that and did not give it power anymore, which took power away from him, made other people look at you in a whole different light and stuff. So the reason for me telling you the story is, in your life, what you give power to is what will happen. It's what will be. And if you're strong enough in your practice and you don't give power to what other people do or say or what they think about you, then you've won the game. You just move on. And in that case, if I really believed that there was a hex, I would have gone home and did a reversal. Which the next day, funny enough, he asked me, did I do a reversal on him? And I asked him why. He said, well, I've got rode up all day. Every time I turn around, I'm getting in trouble for something. And for like 3 or 4 days, he told me that. I did not go home and do anything. I did not believe in his spell or his magic. And so he put that in his own mind, that I was going home and putting something on him, which made him kind of go crazy. So something to think about in life. You know, what you give power to will be. So that's my little story. If you want to hear any more prison stories, put it in the comments. Tell me what you want to hear. I'll be glad to tell you more. I have hundreds of stories. Some of them you would not even believe. But sometimes I try to filter in, you know, not say too much about anything. Brings up old, you know, stuff, but some of the stories are pretty funny, and some are not so funny. But anyway, that's my story about working in the prison and meeting up with the man who practiced Santeria during the shakedown. So if you like it, give me a thumbs up. If you don't, well, we'll wait till the next one. Maybe you'll like that. And hope you all have a good night, and blessed be.